Bro, how we best of friends, basically brothers, still can't agree on the simplest things. It seems like fucking. Oh my dear.
You would think you're a rock star now. Damn. You know, my homies is wild.
Yo, what's up, what's up, what's up? Good afternoon. We are live in the studio. I'm sitting up here looking over some Facebook stuff, man. My homie's in here wilding. Yo, my man, yo, he's a music producer. He's one of the best rappers I know, personally. Really, really creative person, really good with music. But man, me and him been having this who's better, Jay-Z or Nas debate for fucking 20 years. 20 years. And now he just posted something talking about who better, Future or Ludacris. And I'm like, duh, Luda, of course. He's like, man, I'm a side with Future. I'm like, bruh. I ain't even gonna lie, yo. I can't get past this new Nas album. That shit is crazy. All right, all right, all right. Probably do a little Facebook live since I barely be on Facebook. I be popping on that light that's giving me this weird fucking like lens flare or something right there. Why is it doing that? Stop. I guess it won't if I'm not exactly blocking that light. Oh, it's all good. Oh boy, after work stream, I'm in here procrastinating. I'm not procrastinating. I'm settling in is what I call it. It takes a minute to get settled into the studio. To make sure everything. And I'm working on the shirt. Yes, we're still working on the shirt. I had on my church socks today at work. I just decided to keep my church socks on. Need to find something to listen to. I keep playing around with the idea of making new music. I really want to write something, and so I put out this like a fake album cover. I put out a fake album cover the other day, and a couple people were like, "Yo, where's it at? Where can I listen to it?" And I'm like, "It's not real, man. There's no music with it. It's just a concept of what could be an album." And so like enough people asking me for it is like, "What are you gonna do? What's up? What's good?" Like 4 or 5 people. And then one of my homies, another producer, said, "Bro, I'll give you all the beats. You only gotta pay for them. I just give you some beats." So I'm like, all right. So I hit him up, and I told him, just give me a call when you get some free time. If we can talk about some beats, man. I get free beats. I feel like I would be obligated to write something to it. I would be absolutely obligated to write to the music. Write music to the music. Or write lyrics to the music. Not write music to the music. That's weird. That's redundant. But we'll see. It is, I don't know, that's an idea I've been playing around with a while. Alright, nobody's in here. Just text a few people. Let me go to the bathroom real quick. I might have to, let's see.
I find myself yet again in a very similar.
Alright.
My Earthen Magic Johnson, I'm in the prize, and I keep it ghetto like the hood before they gentrified it.
was still there where we had to change clothes. Some GarageBand beats right now. I want to show you guys this paint I'm working on now. I know I don't go live from this Facebook page a lot, even though this is like my art page. This is I use this page specifically for art and to interact with other artists, and I don't normally go live from here, and it's been a while since I've posted any art, so I just wanted to show people like I am working on stuff. I'm not being lazy or nothing. It's just, I don't know, the piece that I'm currently working on is so highly detailed. Like, there's just so much to it. I've been working on this piece for months now. Like, I'm moving into my 3rd month. And I'm going to be wrapping up the Reader series this year. I think last year I really was able to do what I want to do with the Reader series, and that's have it at like really prominent locations. So I had a solo museum exhibit, which was a complete honor. I never thought that I would be in a museum. let alone have a solo exhibit at any museum. So that opportunity was phenomenal. And the Reader Series got a terrific feedback. I mean, it was just overwhelming positive feedback from that show. And then from there, it moved to a university campus, a very, very prominent university. I never thought I would be able to do that. And the same thing there, just overwhelming praise. Some of the best conversations that I've ever had about art. And I think, once again, I think the readers has made that impact, a really deep impact. And so I feel like, okay, maybe I can wrap it up now. I've made a point with this thing, and the point has gotten across to a lot of people. And I want it to reach more people. I want more people to connect with it. I want more people to be educated from the Reader Series. I want more people to go out and purchase a copy of the books that are in the Reader Series. And so I'll never stop showing it. But I think that I'll stop adding to it for a while. This has been my flagship series for about 7 years. It's my largest body of work. I think there's about 16 paintings in the Reader Series, and so it's very extensive, and I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into this series. Some people say artists have a blue period where we focus on one thing or one concept. I think for 7 years now I've been in this blue period where I really wanted to push the merger of art and education, and blend that so seamlessly that you don't realize you're being educated through the art. And I think that the Reader Series was one of my better ideas. I tried to execute each piece with the same amount of care and consideration. And so now, like I said, I feel like that I can kind of move past the Reader Series and try to tackle some other ideas and concepts that I've had for a while. I want to share something now. I do want to share something that really made my day. You get those little things that just really makes your day. Like I got one the other day. I'm gonna actually put this on the speaker real quick. Just real quick, and this is how I know that I've touched on a good concept, because this isn't the first time that someone has said something like this, but it's always just reassuring.
Hey, bro, I know you don't really know me from a hole in the wall, but your work, man, it blew me away, bro. I was just looking at it a little bit, and it's very inspiring, man. I'm a young artist. I'm 26. I live in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and like I just came across your profile. Your work is beautiful, bro. Like very inspiring and humbling. You know what I mean? I've been drawing for as far back as I can remember, drawing, painting, ink, all that stuff, and I paint houses for a living. And I've been, considering doing murals and stuff. Bro, your work is beautiful, bro. And I can't even imagine how many hearts and lives you've touched with your work, bro. Keep creating, man, and just keep on keeping on, man. Thank you for your work, and keep doing what you're doing, brother. Peace and love, man. Hope you're doing well.
That's what I do this shit for, right there. You cannot buy that. You can pay somebody to say anything you want about you. You know what I'm saying? But to have that shit genuine and organic like that, you can't buy that shit. That shit is, to me, that's priceless. To me, that's what I seek to do with the art. A young artist, 26 years old, said, my art inspires him to keep going. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. I just hope the art connects with somebody, that somebody can pull something from it, some kind of motivation or inspiration or some new idea or concept that I didn't even think about, and just have that resonate. I don't know. I want to sell art. I want to sell all my art for thousands and thousands of dollars. I want to sell all my art for that much. But to have somebody reach out and just to genuinely say like, yo, your shit is dope and that shit inspires me. Like that's literally what I live for now. So having that young man, and I used to paint houses. That's my trade. I'm a contract painter by trade. I paint houses and apartments with rollers and spray guns, and so I can see myself in him. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I was 20 something years old doing construction and painting houses and still trying to be an artist and seeking for that and inspiration, And so just I don't know, man. Just by being able to like provide that shit just to one person, that's all that matters to me. Just the one, And he felt so moved from the art that he actually had to reach out and tell me. And that's dope as fuck, yo. I think that's really fucking dope. And I think I talked so much that I lost everybody. But whoever comes in next, I do want to share this piece that I'm working on right now. If anybody's still in here, say hello. Hey, how's it going? Let me know you still trapping with the trap. No? Well, we'll sit here for a minute. Like I said, I do want to share the art. While we wait for somebody to come in, take another bathroom break. All right. Man, that's tasty. Back to the YouTube. Cornell West. How many views this shit got? We still live? Nobody in there? Oh, damn. Yo, what's good? I've been waiting on you this whole time. I'm just not getting here. I'm gonna show some of the details on here. But first, I want to see. I just posted something on this Facebook page too about the analytics from my YouTube channel. Let me see. It got some views. It got 189 views. This one right here with the food, that's still the highest viewed one. Yo, chillin', chillin' like a villain. You know how we do. In my favorite spot in the world, my wonderful art studio. It's a little messy. It's always a little messy. But I wanted to show some details of this piece. Like I say, this is my art page, and I haven't posted any artwork in a while. But just to let people know, I'm not painting. I'm always painting. And I've been taking like little videos and pictures of the progress. So when it's done, I'll definitely put like a reel together for this thing. But it still has a long way to go. A long way to go. Like the book itself is going to take several hours. I can already see that. But I need to straighten that pole out a little bit too. And now I'm working on the shirt. He had like I don't know, the shirt got like a lot of texture on the front of it. Like it's knitted or something. So we're gonna try to add those details in there. And everything else is looking pretty good. The bench is coming along nicely. A lot of details in there, trying to get that textured feeling to the chipping paint. Took a minute to figure out how I wanted to go about doing that, but I used the combination of the knife and the brush, and it looks pretty good. It's like an abstract painting up close, and then you get back and it's like, oh shit. So I'm liking how the shadow is coming out so far. I really like the detailing on the railing or the armrest. That's coming along really nicely. And like I say, right now I'm just detailing his sweater. So there's a lot of details on the front of his sweater. And I'm gonna have to bring this all the way down his sleeve and everything. So this is gonna take a while, but in the end I think it's gonna look really good. So I'll work on his sweater for the rest of the week and probably over the weekend, because this is literally gonna be like thousands like thousands of little brush strokes in there. So over the next couple of days I'll work on that, and then we'll move and start detailing his pants, and then that's everything except the book. And the book will be the very last thing that I do. So looking at maybe another 3 weeks on this thing. Maybe the rest of the week for his shirt, another week for his pants, and then another week working on the book. And then we can just go back one time and put all the little extra details and highlights in there. So I'm maybe still like a month away from completing this piece, but we'll get there. And it's looking really good, so having fun, just enjoying the process. Enjoy the process.
stuff. Bro, your work is beautiful, bro. And I can't.
Having fun, just enjoying the process. Yo, this is crazy. So my man just hit me with this. With this picture right here. All these oil paints, the shit that I use too. He got Gambling and Winsor & Newton. And then he say, hey, I want to give you these. I want to give these to you. I have no use for oil paint. I'm sticking with acrylics, LOL. I know you can put these to use. I'm like, hell yeah, bro. That's awesome, nigga. What? Let me get that. Yo, it just hit me out the blue. Like, yo, wait a minute. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 big tubes of paint. The hold on, what kind are these though? Are these the 40s? This ain't the. Okay, so I use the silver cap. He don't got the silver cap one, so these are probably about $10 a piece, $10 or $11 for that tube of paint. So even if these tubes of paint are $10 a piece, just in the big tubes alone, that's $80 fucking dollars. Then the Gamblings, I know some of these little tubes of Gambling, man, those just be like $12, $13. He got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tubes of Gambling. Man, and then I don't even know this other brand. Oh, that Georgian. That's a pretty good paint. He got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yo, honestly, this is like $300 worth of paint. Easy. That's easily $300 worth of paint.
I love you. I love you.
Hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. My man's just gonna give me some paints. Hmm? Yeah, my man is doing a mural right now at a restaurant somewhere at uh, Tequila's Mexican Grill and Bar. Hmm. That's interesting. Yo, what up, bro? What's good, bro? Let's still looking through this Facebook stuff real quick. That's crazy. Yo, my man said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You one of my favorites, bro. One of my favorites, man. Your style is very distinctive, bro." Hold on, my man just showed me some shit, yo. I posted, I posted the YouTube link on on Facebook. Yo, Leeds, what's good, man? And yo, my YouTube link. I don't know why the thumbnail it took is me straight hitting the bomb. Or did they just take it down? Oh, it was on the other one. Can I not change that thumbnail? That's crazy. What's good though, guys? I wanna I don't know. That's not the same thumbnail I see. Show you guys the up close on this. I don't know how I did that. I accidentally pulled the cable out somehow. That's stupid. I guess I moved the camera too hard, too fast. Um, but yeah, like I was saying in the Facebook stream, like I'm gonna start wrapping up this project right here. Wait a minute, let me turn this. Now I gotta reset. I gotta reset the whole damn thing. What the hell? actually use the PlayStation to do my live streams, my YouTube streams. But that was weird. I don't know. I don't know. The camera came disconnected. Let's see. All right, stop that. All right, now we should be back in regular business. And the reference. Here is the reference photo. No, what are you doing, man? So this is what I'm working from. I took this in April, and right now I'm trying to like detail his shirt, which has all these ridges, like it's knitted type rigid look. Oh man, this shit is fucking me up, bro. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Like, but I'm trying. I'm trying. But that's where I'm at now. Is the front of his shirt or sweater, whatever. But there's still some details I want to put in the branches on the trees. Maybe drop some more highlights in there. Those bricks kicked my ass. It took forever to get those bricks situated, and I still may try to play with them a little bit. I really don't want to now anymore because the tree is in the front. I try to get all of it done before I put the trees in there, but now since all those branches, I just don't want to have to paint around that shit. But some of these bricks over here, I want to tighten up a little bit. And I'm gonna fade out some of these dark marks on the brick, like water damage or whatever. I'm gonna fade those out, and I want to tighten up some of these bricks here, outside of the branches. I'm really good with all of that. The grass, I'm gonna add some more highlights one more time to the grass just to make it pop a little bit. I'm gonna try that closer to the end. The bench is coming along nicely. That shit kind of kicked my ass a little bit figuring out the best approach to it, but I don't know, it came out pretty good. I like the railing or the armrest the best. And so what I plan on doing is detailing his clothing, so getting his sweater done, getting the pants done, and then I'll detail his phone and these two books here. And then the last thing, the wire got caught. The last thing I'll do is detail the main book. And I still want to, I gotta get some more details here towards the bottom part, like the ground underneath the bench. I don't think there's enough contrast there. So we'll add some more highlights and get more contrast to the ground underneath the bench. And then it'll be done. I'm looking at maybe like another month or so. And this is a 3 feet by 4 foot canvas. And that's kind of where we're at with it. So, with this one right here, I'm in it for the long haul. This bad boy got some hours into it. I'm not exactly sure how many, but I know it's a lot. All right, people are like, how long does it take you to finish a painting? And normally it's anywhere from like 70 to 100 hours sometimes. It's always somewhere in between there. I don't know like exactly where I'm at with this piece. I can almost imagine I already got about maybe about 45, 50 hours in this thing already. So, and I'm still looking at probably another 40 hours. It's gonna be one of those 90-hour pieces. But also too, like, I've been gaming real heavy for the past couple of months. Not gonna lie. And I know. So I got Call of Duty when it first came out last year. And I already got like 300 plus hours. I almost got 400 hours on that game. Uh, so this was actually something else. I can't really remember where I got this piece of glass from. But the edges are already rounded and smooth, and I just put tape on the back of it. Just like blue painter's tape. And I use this for a palette. It works pretty good. I used to use like plastic one, a wood one, and then I had a like a paper palette tablet. It looks just like a sketch pad, but it's just like wax paper, and I don't know, just like sheets. And I mean they're pretty cheap too. So you can just use one page, and then, and you know, when it's time to change or clean up, you don't really have to clean up. You just tear the page out and throw that shit away, and then start on another fresh page. I always felt like that's wasteful just to buy it, just to throw it away. So I try to use something that I can just clean and keep, not be so wasteful and constantly buying the same thing. And those plastic ones are okay, but they're kind of hard to clean, and the wood ones are definitely hard to clean. And that's because I don't clean my palette after every session. That's why there's dried up paint already on here. Because I'll use the same colors as long as I can. And so, but when I do that on the wood palette and that paint get dry, you go try to scrape that shit, you're just gonna like scrape all the wood and fuck all that shit up. So I figured to try to paint on glass. It'd be kind of hard to mess this up. And it's a pretty thick piece of glass too. I say I'm really trying to remember what the fuck was this. You know, like how some of those side coffee tables be having like the glass top. This might have been something like that from a piece of furniture or something. Because it seems like it was too thick to be, I don't know, it could have been like, you know how you can buy like poster frames with the glass inserts inside the poster frame or whatever? It might have came from like some frame or something, a picture frame. But it's not, it wasn't meant to be a palette. I just made it into a palette, and it works. And I've used this shit for years now. Not baby wipes. So I use baby oil and paper towel. So it has baby in it, but not baby wipes. Baby oil actually, oil breaks down oil, believe it or not. It seems redundant to try to clean your paintbrushes with oil, even though it's oil, but it works really well. So I use a mixture of, well, not a mixture, but I do a bath with thinner. So I use that thinner for the first bath, which is here, and then I'll wash the brushes out in baby oil as well. And that baby oil will get like the finer granules of pigment out the brush and just keep it softer, longer, and it makes everything smell good. And when I clean my palette, once I get it all nice and clean, I'll put a layer of baby oil on there, and that helps with like the next cleanup if you don't let your paint sit for 3 or 4 days like I do. This is like, that's dry. That's wet. That's kind of wet, maybe. That's dry. So, yeah, I'm not too diligent about that. Definitely need to clean my shit off more. But I want to try to get like a little bit here. I might paint for about an hour. I don't know. I would have normally been painting by now, but just want to talk and hang out and kind of show the studio and stuff. And I did like a Facebook live, and I was gonna do an Instagram live too. And but after work, I try to be in the studio for 2 hours. If I'm painting or not, if I'm in here just cleaning up, or if I'm live streaming, chatting with people and showing the studio around, as long as I can be in here for 2 hours after work, I feel comfortable with that. So I'm gonna try to paint for about an hour and see how far can I pull this sleeve down and see where we get from there. So, want to find something on YouTube. Any suggestions to listen to on YouTube? Man, I got that new Nas album, Magic 2. Man, Nas is 49. This motherfucker put out 5 albums in the last 3 years. I'm trying to tell you, man, the rappers from my generation, and these dudes built different. Like Jay-Z can hypothetically drop an album right now and probably go platinum. Eminem can drop an album right now, and I know he'll still sell a couple million. Like KRS-One could drop an album. Snoop Dogg can still drop an album. Motherfucker's still waiting on that Detox album from Dr. Dre that he said he was gonna put out 20 years ago. And if he ever drops that shit, I'm gonna scoop that shit right up. Well, once again, the motherfuckers who been rapping when I was in high school, they still some of the hottest rappers out now. 30 years later, these dudes still like the hottest MCs. And Nas just did a whole album with 2 features on it. He got 50 Cent on one track, and 50 only got he don't even get a whole 16. I think 50 do like 8 bars or some dumb shit. And Nas got 2 verses on the track. And then he got a track with 21 Savage where 21 he helped out on the hook, and he got a whole verse in there. But other than that, he carried a whole album by himself. He don't need no help. Still, to this day. We just drop track after track after track after track. And all that shit be fire. all that shit be fire as hell. I miss the old school rappers. AI video effects. CNN made a big mistake airing this. One-on-one with Green Party candidate Cornel West. Let me hear what Russell Brand got to say about this Cornel West breakdown.
Cornel West about the nature of American empire. I thought Cornel West was a hero of the left, a liberal icon. Why would CNN want to shut him down? Hello there, you 6.5 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining us on this voyage to truth and freedom. Fractal unfoldings abound around us. As below, so above. The truth is slowly being revealed. Switch on that notification bell right now and subscribe to our channel. It helps us more than I can tell you to help us cruise across the algorithm, gliding like silver surfers of high subscribers. Cornel West went on CNN with Anderson Cooper.
Sure
they had a little
bro.
bit of a showdown. The reason I want to talk to you about this is because Cornel West, he's been on our show. I love Cornel West. He's radical, he's anti-establishment, he believes in people, he believes in freedom, he believes in devolution. He's standing for President of the United States of America. 45% of you Americans out there said that you would vote for a third-party candidate. Does that mean that the system is quaking, breaking, shaking, falling apart? Why would Anderson Cooper of CNN, a liberal lefty, a center establishment figure, want to oppose a voice that's talking about the very issues that CNN, MSNBC, the Democrat Party claim to care about? Have a look at this showdown. Let's break it down together and see why, whoever you are, whether you're on the left or the right or the middle or high up in the sky, if you don't parrot the talking points of the mainstream media, they come and get you.
You've never run a large bureaucracy or had any major governmental leadership role. Isn't that important to actually governing as president?
Who do you think you are? You're not Joe Biden. Look at Joe Biden, how well he's doing. How are you going to get enough substances into every bathroom and on every surface of the White House to keep pep in your step? How are you going to keep the White House white enough?
Oh, absolutely. I'd have to bring in people who are experienced, but the important thing is your vision and the lens through which you view the world. Policy is something that can be worked out in light of vision. If your vision is one of militarism abroad, then you're going to be preoccupied with wars and militaristic adventures.
I don't know that a lot of these journalists are aware that how they function in the world is as the mouthpieces and police of the establishment. They come from this liberal perspective of righteousness, but look what's happening in real time. Cornel West, a much loved and well respected Harvard professor of colour, who believes in diversity, who believes in the talking points they claim to care about, comes on the show with a vision for a different type of America, a willingness to oppose the military-industrial complex. Meanwhile, this is important, particularly if you disagree, agreeing with them on subjects like the environment, the significance of African-American voices, sympathetic to some of the issues that the mainstream media use, I believe, to divide us, and they still have a general position of, who do you think you are? What right do you have? And Cornel West rightly describes that policy can be worked out through the consultation of experts and, importantly, through democracy. Wouldn't you like to be able to vote on the policies that govern your lives? Wouldn't you like to be able to vote on whether or not there's an ongoing war? Wouldn't you like to vote on whether or not pharmaceutical companies are allowed to profit from medical and health emergencies? All of these things could be put to referendum.
We've known Biden's got a long history. I don't think he's actually seen a war that he hadn't supported.
I support that one. I support that one.
I think the invasion and occupation of Iraq was a crime against humanity. How many precious hundreds of thousands of Iraqis were killed based on a lie? Well,
and I think the mainstream media do is they present their perspective as the only one that's rational and reasonable, almost forgetting that their perspective is the one that advocates for ongoing war. They forget and conveniently exclude the fact that we already have the experience of Afghanistan, Iraq, Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, all of these other wars which started in the exact same way that this one did, the current Ukraine-Russia conflict. There's this humanitarian crisis, we have to do something about it. Then, over the 70s, late 60s of course, and the 80s, they realised, oh no, Americans don't want to see their children coming home dead in body bags as a result of a conflict in the land that, when you think about it, is none of their goddamn business. We have to do this, it's part of the Cold War. We have to do this for the resources. We have to do this as weapons of mass destruction. We have to do this because the Taliban don't respect women's rights. And now what's this one? Because Putin is a monster. They don't include this war was provoked by NATO action, certain agreements were reneged on, a coup was supported in 2014. They exclude all that information. You have to pick through the mainstream media to find those facts. Those facts are de-amplified, and they never use it to create a narrative that might be useful to you and to me when we're trying to decide who should run the country and how should they run it. Do you want your nation and your tax dollars to fundamentally be funneled towards forever wars so that the military-industrial complex can continue to thrive? Do you want an unregulated big food industry that perpetuates poisonous food cycles that are making people sick? Do you want pharmaceutical companies that never face a reckoning over fentanyl and the opioid crisis, that haven't been transparent about the coronavirus period, and at this point are supported by organisations like the NIH et al. That are not willing to be accountable and transparent? They act as if that's what's normal, and questioning it's the problem.
Do you really believe that NATO provoked Russia into invading Ukraine?
I would have abolished NATO right after the collapse of the Soviet Empire, and I would have tried to welcome Russia into the nation, the community of nations, rather than trying to push them against the wall.
If Cornel West is asking that we approach this conflict from a different perspective geared towards diplomacy and peace, if Tucker Carlson is asking the same questions and making the same points, then plainly this is no longer a left and right issue, is it? One might assume that Tucker Carlson is conservative, Republican. One might assume that Cornel West is what, liberal, left-wing? How do you describe these people? What they both are plainly is anti-establishment. That's why I think we have to start using Martin Gurri's terms. There's establishment, centre, and then there's the periphery. As long as people are allowed to have their own issues democratically determined by the relevant communities, we don't have to continue to yield to establishment centralist figures like CNN and Anderson Cooper, who, whoever you are, whatever colour you are, whatever you believe in, will make an argument for why you shouldn't be listened to, why what you're saying is wrong. Oh, Trump, well, obviously obviously Trump, he was a misogynist. We all heard the locker room talk. Oh, RFK. Oh, well, you know, he's an anti-vaxxer, even though he's had, like, loads and loads of vaccine. Cornel West. Racist? No. Misogynist? No. There must be some reason why we don't listen to this man. I think he's an extraterrestrial. Got it. Phew.
We know that their system of repression and domination is one in which they're going to feel as if their backs are against the wall. I think you would probably agree that if Russia or China had missiles in Canada or Mexico targeting Washington, D.C., U.S. government would blow them to smithereens. That's how empires behave. You've read the history. I know the history. We're critical of imperial activity, no matter who it is, American, Russian, and what have you. But America's the most powerful empire in the world, in the history of the world, my brother. And it seems to me if we can't dismantle that empire in order to empower poor and working people here and abroad, we're going to lose our democracy. It's almost like Rome, you know, it's Cato the Younger and Cicero against Julius Caesar.
I want politicians that talk like that and look like that. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the empty, hollow rhetoric, the stiff suits telling us that they know more than us, acting like they know more than us. Of course there is such a thing as expertise, experience, education, academia. These things are all real. But when they are used to create hegemony, centralised establishment, control over the media, dismissal of alternative views and alternative ways of thinking, I think that is poisonous, I think it's toxic, I think it has to be stopped. You might be more inclined towards listening to Tucker Carlson than Cornel West. I love Cornel West. I love Tucker Carlson. I love that they are both independent voices. I'm sure both of them believe things that I don't believe. But as long as I'm allowed to live my life and run my community, and they're allowed to live their lives and run their communities, I think we have the possibility of new systems of government that are not top-down impositions of increasingly globalist technocracies where you just do what you're told, you're locked down. Sorry about that. The expertise we found out later wasn't correct, but the science behind lockdowns was a bit shaky. The science behind social distancing was a bit shaky. Too late now. But it ain't too late for next time. And it particularly need never be too late if you're willing to say, I may not agree with Cornel West on some things, but I agree with him on that. I may not agree with Tucker Carlson on some things, but I agree with him on that. Who I don't agree with is Anderson Cooper and CNN and their haughty, pious, supercilious stance of condemnation, patronisation and dismissal to any voice, opinion or view that's outside of that framework that always benefits establishment interests.
Right, but there's
What
a lot.
happens when your empire begins to take over your democratic possibilities?
I just spoke to the foreign minister of Ukraine. We're going to have that interview later on. I think if you said to him, you're standing with the people of Ukraine in solidarity, and you're saying that they are just victims in this proxy war, he would say, you're out of your mind.
As you know, we have some important and brilliant commercial partners and sponsors that allow us to operate in the way that we do, freely, independently, directly with you. Here's a message from a sponsor right now, stated in, I'm going to try and make it funny, baby. When you're running a business, your employees can create all kinds of tricky situations. Some of them can be minor, some of them can be much more serious. That's why you need Bambi. With Bambi, you get access to your own dedicated HR manager, starting at just $99 every single month. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly, and your business stay compliant with changing HR regulations. With Bambi's HR Autopilot,
What?
you can automate...
You get a telemarketing fucking... What the hell? Do I use mediums? I do, actually.
Bambi's dedicated under podcast when you sign up. That's
I use right now I'm using Gamblin's refined linseed oil. And I just pour a little dribble in this cup. You can just see like there's barely any in there because you don't need a lot of it. Just a little dribble. And actually it dries really slow, so I can use this little dribble for days at a time.
AMBEE.com.
They are thankful for NATO. They are thankful for the U.S. You can call it the American Empire, but I mean, they are thankful for all these countries rallying to their side. I mean, I've been there. You've probably been there as well. I mean, it is a horrible it's an invasion. I mean, of killing civilians in cities.
Oh, no, it is a criminal invasion. I'm not denying it's a criminal invasion, but what I'm saying is, you go back to the men's talks, you go back to March, 1 month after the war began, my brother. I'm calling for ceasefire. I don't want to see
You
the
can call for ceasefire. Vladimir Putin isn't really listening to what you say or I say or anybody says. He's doing what he wants to do.
There was a peace deal on the table. We all know that now. We all know that this war is being perpetuated and advanced, not because it aids Ukrainian people or Ukrainian interests. That is, at best, a byproduct of the interests of the powerful. Of course, Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian military will accept military aid in a conflict with a much larger aggressor that's criminally invaded their country. But that's not the mindset that everyone should adopt, because let me offer you this question. Is there a reality where this war goes on and on and on, and eventually Russia goes, all right, you win Ukraine, we're not going to have wars anymore, you can have Crimea, you can have Donbass, yes, sorry, we give up. There isn't. That's not ever going to happen. Russia, like the United States of America, is a war machine. Russia, like America, is willing to endure great suffering. Russia is willing to go on and on, as they have historically demonstrated, and sooner or later, if you make them desperate enough, where are the fingers going to hover? What's ultimately going to be the type of threats that are reached for? This has to be resolved diplomatically. That's obvious. You can't solve it emotionally. It has to be solved pragmatically.
I mean, you saw what he did to Grozny. You saw what he did to Grozny in the 90s. I mean, he flattened that city. Civilians were trapped in that city. No, the world didn't come to the rescue of Grozny. He did exactly what he wanted to do.
And what's important, if you ask me, as a person that would culturally and historically be more affiliated with the ideology and aesthetics of the left, is the left has lost its way. The left no longer can say, hand on heart, this is a humanitarian war, we're doing this for the rights of people. Because you know how they're funded, and you know who wins really. And then when you see Anderson Cooper being dismissive towards Cornel West, you go, of course I'm right. Because otherwise you'd be like, oh yeah, Cornel West, this guy's an academic, he's a man of colour, he's got history, pedigree. Well, I'm going to be respectful. And I'm not saying he's being disrespectful, but he is being dismissive.
Unchecked, he will slaughter people.
Well, I mean, unchecked, he will slaughter folk. Unchecked, what we did in Iraq was slaughtering people. Unchecked, what we've done in other places.
But sir,
a variety of other empires
Dr.
do
West,
that. Nation states do that, though.
No, I
and
understand.
they're wrong. And when they're wrong, you have to pull up. You have to point it out.
I do think it's inappropriate to compare the Russian bombing of Grozny and what we witnessed there with the war in Iraq.
I'm astonished that someone could be on the news and even say that or think that for a second. Did you not watch it when you were broadcasting about it? The war in Iraq was undergirded by a lie. It devastated an entire nation. Millions of children, potentially, starved and were killed. It's completely comparable. The only reason you don't compare it is because it delegitimizes the entire argument. It makes you realize, oh yeah, what right do we have to take this position? And this is what we're seeing again and again. Because of the ability to communicate, analyse, discern, communicate, you can no longer say, hello, we're the United States, we're perfect. Sorry, I've got a few things I want to point out. Oh shit, that's why the censorship, that's why the mainstream media are running scared, that's why whoever you are, Cornel West, Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump, RFK, Marianne Williamson, pick them forever you want on the political or spiritual spectrum. If you attack the establishment, your voice has to be nullified. The mainstream media has to believe that America is better. I'm not talking about you, American people. I'm talking about the foreign policies of the United States military-industrial complex. How does that pertain even to ordinary American military personnel, let alone people living in Delaware or Missouri or Tennessee or wherever? They don't care about you. That's obvious. It's becoming increasingly obvious because we're accumulating the evidence. And what happens when people demonstrate that it's not true? When they reveal footage of what went on in the Iraq War, those people are in jail without trial right now. Julian Assange. When you say, hey, here's the truth on this, they go, get that truth out of here, and whoever brings that truth, get them out of here now. But because of the way media is changing, they've got Cornel West to deal with now. They've got Tucker to deal with now. They've got you to deal with now.
I mean, to say that innocents are killed. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the horrible things happen.
Half a million Iraqis killed, my brother.
Well,
500,000.
Yeah, listen, I was there. I mean, I was there. I was there
You
with
saw
troops.
it.
I certainly understand. I also saw a lot of Americans getting
Absolutely.
killed.
The numbers are available. Of course American military personnel died. That's terrible and awful. It's a crime. It's a sin. It shouldn't have happened. But we know because it's recorded how many Americans. We know because it's recorded how many Iraqis. And you can't just go, it's different. Why? Because I like America. Because if I didn't like America, it would mean that, hold on a minute, my whole job is I'm a liar for the system.
And I saw, the horrors of Saddam Hussein. I'm just saying, I don't think it's accurate to compare the pummeling of a city by Russian artillery with civilians inside, pummeling every single day with the intention of just destroying and flattening a city, with actions the U.S. took. I mean, I don't know. Look, the wars, horrible things happen in wars, and it's horrible.
War, absolutely. But I mean, you know, and I know any comparative analysis of levels of barbarity and cruelty is going to lend itself to this ugly algebra of blood that we don't want to get.
Yo. Yo, good afternoon, bro. What's up, man?
What's good?
Same old shit.
Yeah, because I got off work. I was starting cooking. I forgot to hit you back.
Shit, I'm in the studio right now working on the paint, and I couldn't grab the phone quick enough.
Okay, gotcha.
But hey man, I'll definitely take you up on that offer, bro. If
Yeah, that's all good.
if you wanna help.
I'm just
Hmm?
I make a bunch of beats for like the background, my movies and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my own views. So
Man, whatever you got, bro. Whatever, cause I already know the caliber, so it wouldn't even matter. And I don't know. I've been
would you I guess any particular sound or just you just want to hear what I got? So you just choose that.
yeah, cause I mean I know you've grown and progressed over the years, so I wouldn't mind just like hearing something that'll spark my juices too, cause I don't know. Right now, man, I don't know. I just feel that writing urge for some reason again. And I don't know. I haven't written in so long. There's just like so much shit to talk about between the presidencies and the fucking economy, goddamn alien disclosure, AI. Like, there's just so much stuff to talk about. You know, like, so.
Yeah, I'll send you something I got. And one just made me think. I have one like it's like a song that I did, but nobody heard it.
Mm.
So like the beat, I had a song called then what that shit called? Something for the UFO. It was something I got from Jack, like a live performance Jack Black did.
Oh damn.
And it was like something for the UFOs and stuff. And so I did the beat sounding like some intergalactic shit. So I'll send that. That just made me think about that.
Yeah, definitely. That's gonna be like the main focus of this shit. Like, I was gonna call it aliens and AI. Or it's gonna be something like that. AI and aliens or UAP or I don't know. Something kind of catchy to make motherfuckers think.
Like with me, like because I write, but I don't really have time. I do so many things. It's hard to focus on one. So it's like it's good to have people who have the same interests. That can do the stuff. Like I can share, or we can kind of collaborate as far as like me giving you the beats and you.
Damn right. Shit, my favorite songs are still all the tracks I recorded off of your beats, bro. Like those like conspiracy like woke shit that I was doing, like to this day those are still my favorite tracks, bro. Just still my favorite shit. And if I do happen to play them for people now, they be like, yo, where that beat come from? I gotta bring you up every time. Like, yo, my man's had that fire, bro. And this was early 2000s. This was years ago now. So like I said, I know you done grown and progressed with the sound and everything. So if you want to supply a few tracks, like I said, that should have definitely just helped spark my creative juices. Cause I've been on the brushes for so long. I know it'd be like a little grind trying to get back into that wordplay flow, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I just want to do something, you know. Again, I really miss doing that shit, man.
So, yeah, when I send like clips, you need like a longer version. You're not able to listen to whatever, at the same thing.
All right. Well,
Like what's that?
what you fixing for dinner?
Shit, I'm grilling.
What you
Yes,
put?
man. Like salmon steaks and chicken and what you call them shits, brats.
Oh yeah, yeah. Them salmon steaks where it be at, bro. Nice grilled salmon. All right, bro. I'm gonna let you do your thing, man. Once again, I appreciate you even just offering. We might be able to have a little project together right here again. You never know, man.
So you got I guess shoot me your email or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I seen you. All right, fam. I'm gonna let you.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Like I said, man, I motherfucking just was playing around, just really just fucking with people, and I made this a fake album cover. I made like this fake album covers and trying to fool people like I'm putting out some new music, and then like a few people really was like, "Yo, what's good, man? Where's that? Where did I listen to it?" And I'm like, "Man, that shit not real, man." A couple people like, "What the fuck?" And then my one homie was like, "Hey, bro, you know if you really wanna get back into the music, man, I'll give you some beats. Give me some beats." Oh, okay. Well, what's up? You about to force me to write and force my hand. Man, motherfucker about to goddamn bring that Trap House Entertainment back out, boy. Goddamn motherfucker gonna be like, Travis? I'm like, nah, it's Trap, nigga. Trap. You call me Travis. Travis is the painter. Trap, that nigga the rapper. I ain't gonna lie, man. Listening to that Nas album, that's what really made me like, just like fake an album cover. I was like, I wish I was still writing and making music and shit, man. Nas, 49 years old. This motherfucker done dropped 5 albums in 3 years. And in this new album, he said, when you finish this one, we'll be halfway through the next one. No, he said, before you finish this one, we'll be halfway through the next one. And him and Hit Boy, that's his only producer right now, yo. Him and Hit just stay in the fucking lab for all these years, yo. Been in the lab for 3 fucking years. Hit Boy just feeding this motherfucker all these beats, yo. That's all he needs, just somebody to feed his ass some goddamn beats. I feel like that's what I really need. Just feed me some beats, man. Let me just zone in and go in on these motherfuckers. Yeah, I already knew these little 1,000 brushstrokes right here is gonna be the death of me. I don't even know why I be fooling myself like this sometimes, man. I know there could have been an easier way where I could have just fluffed this stuff out and made it into like more of a shadow effect instead of actually having all the individual lines in here. I think it'll pay off in the end, honestly, but man, this shit's so tedious, man. I'm moving an inch a minute. That's the only thing about it. It's time consuming. Time consuming. And that's the only thing about it. That's the only thing about writing too. Like, writing doesn't come natural to me. I just can't. Never was a Tupac or a Biggie motherfucker just going there and just like bang 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 and bang that shit out. Like, it take me forever to put my thoughts together, and then first I gotta get the thoughts together, and then I gotta tell you this shit in a rhyming pattern. That's why I'm amazed with like some of the best MCs. These motherfuckers are just poets, just natural poets, and that shit just flow from their ass. Motherfuckers like Lupe, Nas, Common Sense, 3000. Like 3000 just dropped some a verse on that and Killer Mike just dropped the album. I know Killer Mike about the same age. Killer Mike gotta be like 40 something. He over 40, I'll tell you that. Oh yeah, still making it meet. Matter of fact, damn, I forgot. I got that Killer Mike album too. I burnt that shit out the first week I downloaded that shit. Man, I listen to that shit every day for a week. Now I need to go back and run through that shit one more time, cause that shit dope as hell. But ever since I just got that Nas album, I've been listening to that for 2 days now. I even used that one of the Nas tracks in there, Instagram reel and all that shit I made. I had to put Nas up on that bitch. I forgot what we was listening to that fast when I got on the phone with my homie. I actually need to clean off this little bit of brown and add some more because it's getting clunky and it's fucking me up a little bit right here. What am I doing here? I think I'm doing this. Something like that maybe. But it has to be a little darker right here because it's in that fold. I'm on my Irvin Magic Johnson. Yo, that Magic Johnson track, that Abracadabra, man, yo, he started out the album with this track called Abracadabra. Bruh. It's too fucking good, man. And me and like one of my best friends, bro. We have never ever agreed on this shit, yo. This nigga is a Jay-Z fan, hardcore through and through. And I get Jigga fans, I understand it. Man, I never bought a Jay-Z album. I bought one Jay-Z album ever, and that was the duet that he did with Kanye, Watch the Throne. I ain't gonna lie, cause I was on Kanye hard right then. and he had that good music out label out and shit. Like, so I was definitely watching Kanye artists. And then he even signed Kid Cudi, then Kid Cudi wound up leaving. That shit was crazy. Anyway, that's the only album that I ever paid for that has Jay-Z on that shit. I gotta do that. I gotta do that right there first. I'm about to see. They too many ways. I'm about to fuck this up. I'm not paying attention right now to nothing. I'm just talking. Lost in the sauce. I think that need to touch a little bit. What I need to do is this with the brown. Because that's that. And then it gets green. It gets green here. And then, yeah, I need some brown. And it goes back brown here. But then it's a little more green here. But it's darker. It's darker right here. I'm scared. I don't want to make it too dark. Just dark enough. Something like that. I don't want to make it too dark. Alright, that might suffice. That might be too dark, honestly. I ain't gonna lie. I just tell you, I feel like I'm just fucking it up somehow. Nah, that's too light. Oh my god, the back and forth. Forth and back. It's too dark. It's too light. It's too dark. It's too light. Alright, I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna leave it just like that, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gotta be perfect. It just gotta look perfect. From a distance. If you can stand like 10 feet away and squint your eyes and it look good, then that's all I care about. If you get too close on it and you see all the little fuck ups in it, then that's on you. Step back some. Stand back. Protect the survivor. Stand back. Whoo, whoo. That's my dogs. Oh, I gotta download that other track too. Like, I think Lil Wayne just released a single where he had a DMX sample in that shit, yo. That shit was hard. I think it was called DMX or something like that. Something kind of close to it or similar. Let me put this Tucker interview back on.
Also, let's remember when he says something like comparisons of barbarity and cruelty in the algebra of blood. For a moment, if we're evaluating who should be president of the United States, I'd like you to call to mind for a moment the last time you heard Joe Biden say anything like comparative barbarity and algebra of blood. Don't you want your leaders to be able to talk properly?
But all I'm saying is you can't just jump into a situation where people...
Man, I feel good. Could be the food I eat, or these toys to get my mind right. Or maybe it's Petco keeping me healthy for less money. Oh, a bird.
Better quality pet care for less human.
people are being treated barbarically. There's no doubt that Ukrainian people are being treated in a barbaric way.
And we're watching live the media practicing their technique. Ah, so you're questioning the war. That means that you're saying you like it, the Ukrainian people are being killed. No, I'm saying end the war.
That's that murderous way. There's no doubt about that. But the context is one in which that did not have to be if the expansion of NATO, and NATO is an arm of the American global power network. And I don't want World War III. I don't want World War III. The way that we're moving now, we got 3,000 advisors. Well, we heard that in Vietnam. We're on the way to possible nuclear exchange.
Here's some additional information that will help us to understand why Anderson Cooper may have the position that he held in that conversation. Many of the retired military leaders employed by networks as paid contributors have secondary affiliations that are rarely if ever mentioned, leaving viewers in the dark about whose interest they're promoting. None of the leading networks, including CNN, makes a regular practice of announcing its military analysts' financial ties to the Pentagon, connections that would colour their on-air comments. They have generals on there all throughout the week leading up to the war till it's too late to discuss it anymore, saying, oh, we need this war as a humanitarian disaster, Putin is a monster, he just wants to... You know, they try to present us this information as if it's neutral, when in fact the people they bring out have secondary financial ties to the military-industrial complex. Is that a coincidence? Let me know in the comments. A new Quincy Institute brief shows that America's top foreign policy think tanks are awash in funding from the defence industry. They've dominated the media market related to the Ukraine war, and they seldom, if ever, disclose that many of the weapons they're recommending the US give to Ukraine are made by their funders. Off the top of my head, I'd have to say that the best weapons are, let me get the catalogue. Oh yeah, this one, and this one's half price. If you bomb now. The media don't do their own independent research. The media parrot and convey talking points that have been generated by think tanks. A think tank? A tank filled with thinking. That's right. How did that thinking get in there? The military-industrial complex put it in there. These think tanks are not neutral academic institutions. They are paid for by the military-industrial complex. That's how it gets into the think tank. Then it comes on the news. So that the military-industrial complex don't directly go onto the news and say, we would like to sell more weapons. They ease it. They lubricate it. They ornament and decorate it. Then Anderson Cooper tells you about it. In short, when you hear a think tank scholar comment on the Ukraine war, chances are you're hearing from someone whose employer is funded by those who profit from war, but you'll probably never know it. That's because 78% of the top-ranked foreign policy think tanks in the US receive funding from the Pentagon or its contractors. The analysis revealed that media outlets were more than 7 times as likely to cite a think tank with defense sector support as they were to cite a think tank without it. Wow. So you're just not going to hear from people that think you shouldn't have a war. You're going to hear from think tanks that like tanks. Media outlets were similarly not transparent about the conflicts of interest of the experts they were citing. In fact, none of the media mentions analysed in the brief were accompanied by disclosures of defence industry funding of think tanks that were at times recommending policies but could financially benefit their funders. So whether it's coming from the left in the form of independent Cornel West, or the right in the form of Tucker Carlson, or you and I, as people that have no affiliations other than our personal, familial, ideological, philosophical identification, they will shut down anti-war sentiment and promote pro-war sentiment as if it's neutral information. We're probably at the point where they actually don't even know they're doing it. Anderson Cooper probably doesn't know that the information he's given to cite comes from think tanks that are funded by the military-industrial complex. But you know it. This is why we need independent political movements, independent political thinkers, independent communicators, and independent media. That's why what you do is important, because you are responsible for your own thinking, you are responsible for your own communication, you're responsible for the media that you consume, and I hope you continue to consume our media, because we believe in your freedom, our freedom, and we believe importantly, in fact, that even though you and I might see things differently, I believe in your right to see it that way. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments? If you enjoyed this video, have a look at I've Released. Turn on the notification bell, subscribe. Go on, press it. The notification bell, subscribe. We stream Stay Free with Russell Brand every single day. You can join us there. But more important than any of that is that you please, if you can, stay free.
Showing up on the first page of Google might not be the best for everyone. But for business owners it is. Take My Vintage's online store. It ranks for thousands of competitive keywords, like vintage clothing, which gets loads of searches on a monthly basis. And 80% of that traffic goes to their site. They also rank for over 1,000 images on Google. All of this drives tons of organic traffic every single month, leading to incredible organic growth year over year. and a lot more sales. For those who want to be seen, Wix.com/SEO.
As you know, I'm not an expert, to be particular emphasis on male initiation, as the body is not so uniform in the way that it informs a boy that it is a grown-up now, not a child anymore, and that there are new duties to be undertaken. One of the best examples I ever heard, and I feel like it's somewhere in Freud, or maybe in Joseph Campbell, is that I feel this is some Australian Aboriginal tribe. That what they do, and I think they're doing this now, I figure, I don't know, I'm putting this stuff together, you know how it goes. That the boys at a certain age are dragged away from the mother, and they make much of it. They wear masks, the men of the village. All the men are part father, all the women are part mother, and of course there are categories for other forms of identity too, which they honour and revere, often in the form of the shaman, who is beyond gender identity, incorporating both. You see reflections of this to this day, even in monotheistic faiths, where the priest wears what appears to be neutral or androgynous attire, distinguishing them from the rest of the community, yet honouring them and revering them.
And you went through that initiation way too early. In your own words, you say that you were prematurely forced to be a man because you've got the duties of care over your mother. At a young age, your father leaves, I think, six months old. And then the other thing that happens, which feels like a horrible a horrible sense of chance, is your mother has cancer. And she struggles with it for many, many years. So you've got this young boy, and I was thinking about this when I was doing the research for this conversation. You've got this very young boy who's struggling with a lot of things on his own, disconnection coming from all angles, and then the stability in his life gets the uncertain horror of cancer come into her life, and what that does to that young boy who's already destabilized in sense of like connection. These are all interpretations I have from reading a piece of paper. If I'm just being honest, I was putting myself in those shoes and saying, I've got this stable figure here in my life, my mother, and I'm dealing with all this instability over here, and then this becomes unstable.
Yeah, it's good analysis. But, really, my mother's struggles, them's her struggles. She had to go through that, and bravely she's done it, what life force that woman has in her. And to pick up on a point within your question, you cannot fake being a man or a woman or an adult, let's say, a word that doesn't have any cultural load to bear. You can't fake that, or you can fake it, and I did fake it, and that is what people do. They fake it. But in a sense, maybe you need another adult to make you that. You need to be initiated. You need a code. You need to know that it's about duty and responsibility, that it's not all just about swagger and personal achievement. And like many young men, I joined a group of lost boys. I found men, young men, kids, because if I met them now, that's what they were, is kids, a couple of years older than me, that becomes your tribe. Unless you have hierarchies and systems of acculturation and inculcation that are based on higher values. Remember our earlier point about moral authority and trust, who you're going to give it over to. You'll create your own one. You'll create your own little community without elders that are reliable and trustworthy and dutiful and understand the nature of sacrifice of themselves in order to perform them duties. So of course, yes, I feel like when you feel the incumbency of adulthood upon you early due to the conditions of your domestic trial there, you will have to, as they say, man up or woman up. You will have to, but it won't be real, because it can't be real, because it's not only a set of endocrinal imperatives, it's also a system of instruction as laid out in the previous anecdote, the Campbellian analysis of the anthropological conditions of that Aboriginal group there. So really, until you find other adults, elders, that are like, I know what I'm doing, you don't need to worry, I'm stronger than you, it's going to be okay, I'll look after you, it's all right, do this. That, a father is, you're going to forego this now because in the future, this. Without that, you will not forego. You will consume now. You will not understand your role. So but it takes a long while. I've said it before, Stephen, but I'll say it again, so it bears repeating. Thou shalt worship no other gods than me, because otherwise you will worship them gods. You will worship pleasure, money, fame. Them gods are greedy little gods too. They're easy little deities to start worshipping. And the problem with the worship of those gods is you lose the principle of the divine, the interconnectivity, that pleasure is not the result. Pleasure is a byproduct. Pleasure is an inadvertent byproduct, please God, of doing the right thing.
I was just thinking then, as you're talking about all of that and the gods we choose to worship and young men and fatherlessness, I was thinking about the Andrew Tate phenomenon as a form of, he really seems to have captured a huge amount of young men for some reason. And trying to diagnose why that is a very multifaceted process, isn't it? Because there's elements of purpose and meaning and having a figure in your life that you can guide you, can initiate you into what being a man is, that it seems that young men are in search of.
Yes, I agree. No doubt. One of the challenges it feels like we have culturally, Stephen, is we are unable to observe the difference between symptom and cause.
Yeah.
Symptom and cause. And obviously, as with matters medical, cause is what we must analyse. Yeah. Cause is what we must understand. There's no point saying you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. If you have a set of values that are pretty simple, I call them Sesame Street values: kindness, love, service. That's going to take care of a hell of a lot. If you have kindness, love, service, it's going to take care of a hell of a lot. Are you being kind right now? No. Well, you have gone off track, mate. You've gone off track. You're not being kind. Are you being of service? No. Then we can maybe sift through different. Also, we live in such a curated space that it's difficult to discern what people are actually angry about sometimes. What is it? As one of my great teachers says to me, what is it? Don't get caught up in the phenomena, the epiphenomena, the distractions, the static. What is it that you are trying to understand? What is it you're trying to do?
All of these groups then, people that are big fans of Andrew Tate, people that are radically left, people that are radically right, what is it that they are seeking, or that they are getting from such a radical pursuit?
Well, an argument might be that we are recognizing that there is nothing in our evolution to suggest that we live in cultures of 300 million people who live by one ideology, that we have to truly respect diversity, that we have to acknowledge that many of our most influential and powerful systems do not have our best intentions in mind, that they in fact benefit from ongoing cultural conflagration. If we can do one great service in this cultural space, I recognise that part of your goal and your mission is to awaken latent potency in individuals in honour of your own journey, and it is a great mission, if I may say. But part of this mission must be for us to learn this simple lesson. We have more in common with one another than divides us, and it is our duty to reach out in particular to the people we disagree with in a spirit of love and good faith. Firstly then, identify, am I reaching out in good faith to people I already agree with? No, that's not it. Disagree with. I disagree with that on this important hot button topic of guns or pro-life, pro-choice, or identity or tradition or progression. I disagree with them, and I respect your right. I respect and I love you. And I know that I do not know what you know. That I am not God. I am not God. I do not know. I do not have any authority over you. But I believe that together we can achieve a consensus. And this consensus must be founded on good faith. We must allow one another to communicate in good grace and openness. We cannot yield to censorship, not because we want people to fill the air with toxicity and hate, but because we know that if we try to control it, who has the right? Who are we granting the right to now? Have you investigated any of these organisations? Have you investigated their funding, their affiliations, their agenda, their imperative? Because to some degree, I am sorry to report that I have, and I have found them wanting. They will not be getting my consensus for authority anytime soon, and I would offer you this. You have more in common with the people you are fighting with those you most loathe. Whatever hue, persuasion, or a cultural garment you've conveniently strewn upon them, than the people that are saying that they will protect you. The institutions that are saying they will protect you.
Are you optimistic?
Yes, God is real.
You're optimistic that we'll get to a place where we recognise that our similarities are greater than our differences?
Yes.
And so if I make Russell Brand, I don't think this is a role you want, but if I make you Prime Minister or President of the world, how do you systemically change things to help us achieve the objectives you've described in connection, community, kindness, and togetherness? What are the things? I've asked so many people this question, no one's ever wanted to answer it. Well, because it's so big.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Bring power as close as possible to the people affected by it. Default to decentralization and localization wherever possible. Of course, this will not immediately yield perfection, but have you looked out of your window? We are not competing with perfection, we are competing with corruption. So, what do we want? Most of all, we want true democracy. All the values that people espouse are the values we should be practicing. They say, the world does not need more people to believe in God, just for those of us that do to start acting like it. To start acting like you believe God is real. Redistribute the control of municipal facilities to those that are affected by them. Do not have water companies in the United Kingdom, like Thames Water, owned elsewhere in China or Canada or Kuwait or Qatar or wherever those facilities are held. Have municipal facilities run by the community that is affected by them. I'm not talking about renationalisation. I'm talking about community. The community runs its water wherever possible. I recognise that there is some complexity when it comes to electricity, municipality, running roads, running hospitals. But who among us has ever been into a hospital and not marvelled at the beauty, the compassion, the ingenuity, the commitment, the devotion of the people that work there? Wouldn't it be better if the people that clean the floors in the hospital felt that they were invested in it, that it was their hospital, the nurses that work there, the doctors, that they have real power, that those are their hospitals? Wouldn't it be better if both sides of our political conversation, I'm talking about the United Kingdom right now, hadn't agreed already that privatisation is the way to go and they're not going to do anything about it? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with capitalism in its basic format of we create a product and the people want the product and look at that, we made a little bit of money. I'm talking about this gigantic, metastasized monster devouring everything right down to spirit. We must recognize where centralized authority is coalescing most, and this we must address. This we must address, whether it is financial, corporate, or state power, wherever it is possible. We the people, those three magical constitutional words, if they were listened to, if they were lived by, it's already there. The kingdom of heaven is spread upon the earth and man sees it not. It's already here. It comes from inside your consciousness. You awaken. You believe it's possible to change, you act like it's going to happen. That's how these things unfold. It's happened again and again. The miracles of transition and change, the great beauty of science and medicine and technology, when it is freed from its tendrils, when it is untethered from the mendacious objectives of a system that sees all things as dominion for materialization and commodity, when it is freed from that, you will see the true genius of our scientists, the true genius capable in technology. If we can just address the model, if we can just have as an agenda an awareness that we are just on one little rock in infinite space right now, that we're all participating in this one centralized idea, and yet infinite diversity, infinite individual freedom, infinite ways of being human. We must all take responsibility for becoming the person we're intended to be. And if you don't know who that is, you find someone who does, and you find a system and a program that can help you, and we'll all do our best together, and it's going to be glorious, glorious, but beyond glorious, it is necessary.
One of the things you said within there was about empowering nurses, for example, and cleaners in a hospital. And it reminded me of a study I read many years ago that showed nurses that were given ownership about the decisions within a hospital had higher satisfaction, there was less accidents, there was less accidents with misprescribed medications, there was higher retention, and when they leveled out the payment, the remuneration policy, so there was less unfairness in how people were remunerated, all the standards of the hospital went through the roof because people were empowered. They had autonomy and control over their lives and work. So I completely relate to that. My question, though, is about step one, because what you described there sounds like it's at the top of Everest. And sometimes when something feels, it does, even for me, it feels like it's a long way away from where we are now. So I'm asking, what's the first pebble? What's the first domino that has to fall? What's the first thing that I can do as an individual to help us get closer to that world?
Well, firstly, Stephen, people climb Everest every single day.
Yeah.
They have to clear the litter from that mountain now. Once it was considered inconceivable. And every time there is an epochal shift, every time we say, oh, it seems that the sun doesn't go around the earth, it seems like the earth goes around the sun. Oh, there are things that are smaller than atoms. It appears that these sub-particular phenomena that are so small it's even difficult to label them exist in a unified field, that they are emanating but somehow connected to. I'm speaking, of course, of quantum entanglement. If you reverse the charge of a particle thousands of miles away, the partnering particle will reverse its charge also. There appears to be some unitive force. What I'm expressing is the most simple, practical, effortless achievement that we will ever yet undertake. It is merely the realization of the truth that we are individual, yes, but we are connected also. That there are Goliaths that have incrementally coalesced due to the progression of the great, sometimes unacknowledged revolutions. I'm not saying those acknowledged: agriculture, industrial revolution, technological revolution, that all of these have been undergirded by principles of dominion that might as well be feudalism. In a sense, there is no change at all, except for the individual change that you yourself can make. This is why I think people get a lot of traction when they say, look after yourself. This is part of it. Eat well, awaken, pray, meditate, recognize that it is normal to feel sometimes total despair and total despondency. Remember, all of these great journeys that we're describing, that you're fascinated with, began with exactly that. That the great sages and secular saints that we have been granted have shown us and told us, be the change that you want to see in the world, whether it's our Gandhi or our Malcolm X, people that are willing to give their life for what they believe in, because what they believe in is bigger than their life, and you're gonna die anyway. You're gonna die anyway, but your principles, this is eternity. That we can touch eternity in the moment. So it's not like woo-woo to say, meditate, wake up. This is changing the prima materia. It is the field of consciousness. This is, I suppose, what I'm advancing. Consciousness precedes matter. You have unique individual access to consciousness. You are online. You are on the grid. You are responsible for whether or not you believe this is possible. Nobody else can tell you what to do there. That is your private kingdom, your private domain, where you can be, for now, whoever you want to be in there. Please do not relinquish that right by not taking it now. For I tell you, authoritarian forces are abundant and abound. They are looking to colonize the very space of attention that exists right now, this moment. This is what is being colonized. Attention, data. Data on what? You. The territory of the self. This is fertile. This is not nothing. It is not nothing to awaken to the reality of who you are in this very moment. That is not nothing, Stephen.
Quick one. As you know, Airbnb are a sponsor of this podcast, and I was actually in an Airbnb last weekend when me and my friends had a reunion in New York, and it's from staying in Airbnbs over the years that led me to start hosting my own place. I know friends of mine who actually Airbnb their own place in order to pay for the Airbnb they use when they're away on holiday, which is pretty smart. And maybe you stayed in an Airbnb before and thought, this is actually pretty doable. Maybe my place could be an Airbnb. It could be as simple as starting with a spare room or your entire place. You could be sitting on an Airbnb and not even know it. Whether you could use some extra money to cover your bills or something a little bit more fun, your home might be worth more than you think. And you can find out how much it's worth at airbnb.co.uk/host. Check it out, find out how much your home is worth, and let me know what you think. One of my team members had a question for you. I was just chatting to them about you, and they said, Joe, I really want to know how he lives on a day-to-day basis, because I know from your books and stuff, the Russell that roamed the streets of Shoreditch once upon a time, the Russell I see now is through the lens of YouTube, and I see him what it looks like the countryside somewhere, with like some logs in the back. How do you live your life now?
I'm glad you've asked this, because this is proper diary of a CEO stuff, because this is actual scheduling. I have to live sort of like a monk, basically. I have to be conscious all the time. I have to be conscious about what I eat, otherwise I'll eat something stupid. I have to be conscious about what I say, otherwise I'll say something stupid. I have to be conscious about what I do. I have to familiarise myself with extremes continually. So I, thank you God, have access to hot temperatures and cold temperatures. I expose myself to them regularly, every day if possible. I do a lot of cold therapy. I get right in that cold, and while I'm in that cold, I think this thing taught to me by Michael Singer, and anyone who's willing to watch Michael Singer stuff. The moment in front of you is not bothering you. You are bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. Then I get in very, very hot temperatures, and I think the same thing. The moment in front of you is not bothering you. You're bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because for me it was not natural to tangle like that. And I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu so much. Kozo Rogan actually was the first person I sort of talk about all that stuff, and I do that a couple of times a week. I do.
Why? I need more detail on why.
Well, you see why, like, it's good for, I think, people to touch one another in a way that is playful and absolutely consensual, but sort of assertive. It's like kind of, I heard a YouTuber say, like dance actually, and it's very good for me. It really puts me in my body. It's not cerebral. I don't know about you, Stephen, but I suspect you're the same. I am very intellectually oriented. I live in here. I find it very easy to be self-obsessed and to get just caught up in all that stuff. So things that put me in my body, the body holds the key. The body, you've got a body. It's important, the body of Christ. It's very important to get in that cold water. It's very important to get into that yoga. Very important. These things are important and beautiful and connecting. So I do a lot of BJJ. I do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of other type of exercise, calisthenics, body weight type stuff to try and stay fit. I've got young children. I have another child coming. I have to stay fit. I have to be able to be, God willing, present for these children going forward. And I love it. And it's what we're meant to do. We're animals. Again, this anthropological idea. How might we have lived for those hundreds of thousands of years that predate the great miracle of agriculture? How might we have lived? We work, we touch one another, we are socializing, we groom and we graze together. It's nice, like the kind of trust you develop with people in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like that they choke you to the point of unconsciousness, but then when you tap, it's over, and that this is something that you share between you.
There's a trust in that as well, isn't there?
Ah, yes, trust. Good to embody the trust and experience the trust, as they say. If you want to know if you can trust someone, and maybe it's difficult to seek out those kind of opportunities where it can play out, so microcosmically and practically.
Because I did a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu lesson or two, and that man could have killed me at any moment. I really knew he could have killed me. He had me tied up like a ball of elastic bands, and I knew at any moment he could kill me. But I trusted him, and I didn't know this man.
It's lovely, isn't it?
There's something amazing about it, and it's an instant bonding that this man has his life in my hands. Yet he's teaching me an art form. He's teaching me a discipline, and holding literally my life in his hands. It's funny because I didn't know him, but I felt like he was my mentor, my father, my immediately after.
Yeah.
Because I trusted him so much, my life, right? So
absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing.
Touch very important for us late ape creatures. That's why hairdressers, you tell the hairdresser or the barber staff, this is why, in Strictly Come Dancing, they can't stop falling in love. They're performing these rituals that are designed to elicit certain states.
That's the vulnerability, isn't it? That's the connection.
The vulnerability, the touch, the awareness of sameness, but differentness, the acknowledgement that we are creatures, that we are embodied creatures. All of these things, I think, contribute to that. So for me, on my day, yes, every day prayer and meditation first thing. Every day rigorously ensure that I have done things for other people, preferably without letting other people find out, that I make myself available to other, in my case in particular, men that require help with their issues around addiction and mental health, that I have checked in with other people that I consider to be peers around the challenges that I face psychologically, that I don't spend all my time obsessing just about what I want. Like I have to do quite a lot to not be crazy. I have to do quite a lot to not be crazy. So the hot, the cold, the BJJ, the yoga. There's someone I worked with once who said every day I get up, I meditate, I pray, I do exercise, I do green juice, I do hot, cold, I attend a support group, and then I feel okay. Okay, that's what I get to feel if I do all that. Then I don't feel like a lunatic, a vacillating wild lasso of mad vicissitudes that could lash around anything in its search for connection.
Is there not another way at this point? This also is attached to another question I've often pondered from doing what I do here, which is about how, I mean, Steve Peters, who's a psychiatrist, I believe, talks about these goblins and gremlins, and I spoke to Gabor Mate as well. I know you've interviewed him, and I watched that fantastic, unbelievable guy. But I wonder if the traumas, the things that are hard, I use the word hardwired tentatively, but the things that are hardwired into us are ever overcomable. If we can ever take them to zero in terms of the power they have over us or influence we have over, or we will spend our lives managing.
I was taught from the wound comes the salve. From the wound comes the salve. The place of the deepest wounding will provide your salvation. This is what you must investigate. It is not... When people love you, we always feel it's because of their strength or the capacity or the virtuosity, but often it's the vulnerability and the fragility, because we all know that this vulnerability and fragility is something we share. This is what comedy is to me, Stephen, is the ongoing acknowledgement. Everyone's running some game. I'm this, I'm doing this, I've got this going on. You're going to die. It's all going to fall apart. It's all going to fall apart, except for these permanent principles and a connection to the eternal achievable through consciousness. This is why I need ceremony. This is why I need practice. This is why I need peers and mentors and mentees. And from the wound, from this place of I'm not good enough, nobody loves me, I don't fit in, the only way that I can achieve trust is through having some authority or value as accredited by a culture that I don't even bloody trust, as compared with a metric that I don't even agree with. Instead of this now, and again, continual, moment to moment, I'm not suggesting that I am any better than anybody else, just that I'm not any worse than anybody else. That's the biggest thing that I'll offer. It's ongoing, it's continual, but the thing, I'm glad of it now. I'm glad of the wounding, and you will be too, whoever you are. You will be glad of the wounding too, because it is sadly a gift to you. That doesn't mean it was right, or that there weren't perpetrators, or that it's not bad, or that the culture doesn't need to change, or any of those things. All those things are definitely true. But from it, all of the time you see it. Go Great Ormond Street, go anywhere. Watch the Paralympics. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. People overcome.
And I ask that because so many become frustrated that the wounding, they haven't been able to overcome it. They become frustrated by that because a lot of the kind of, I don't know, maybe spiritual doctrine, maybe whatever, says you can take this pill or you can do this exercise, you can do this retreat, and then you won't be a narcissist or you won't be a whatever, right? And then they try it, they buy the course, then they still are. They find themselves reacting in those old ways and being triggered, and the machinery that you spoke of that comes up when we're triggered is still there, and they go, fuck! I need to buy another course.
We do need to be very self-compassionate, and I think we have to perhaps recognise that it is not a commodity that can be externally required, but an external coordinate can indeed ignite that which is already there, dormant and latent and awaiting to be born. Precisely the necessity for initiation we return to here. The initiation is to activate that which is already there. Activated surrender, not passive surrender. Not passive surrender, activated surrender. I'm a vessel. I'm here for whatever you are. I trust myself, God. I pray to you, God, not my limited conception of you, God, with my tiny little mankind mind. I pray to you, God, as you know yourself to be, and I offer myself to you, God, 100% and totally. Please use me. Please take away from me everything that is not of use to you. Put aside all my preconceptions and use me, God. This utilizes the wound. The wound becomes a portal. You become a vessel.
I want to stay on how you live. So I understand your sort of morning routine there, but if I zoom out on where you live, why you choose to live there, your relationship with work, now that you have this, I think, greater clarity on institutions, and how you balance that.
Well, like, I have to make a lot of content, because every day I'm on Rumble. Every day I make an hour of content. every day we make an additional 10 to 15 to 20 minute video on a news subject that generally encompasses anti-establishment narratives and a way of explaining that is hopefully inclusive. Every day we have other social media content. We have a business. Like I'm part of a significant business endeavor that I regard as a movement rather than a business, but as you are all too aware, if it doesn't function as a business, it will not function at all. So it has to have good hygiene and housekeeping.
You're a CEO.
I literally am here not under the pretense of being a CEO, but because it is part of my job, and I do have a diary, although I don't keep it myself, and I try not to look at it, but it exists. And so I have to participate continually with that and ensure that an organisation is around me that is able to facilitate the things that I'm good at and accommodate the many things where I am currently looking to improve. I have to make all of the content. We try to do this in 3 days. That means that a couple of days a week I'm available for different types of expedition and adventure, such as this one. This is why, for me, the spiritual life, it has to come first, but not out of a sort of an ethical evaluation. Spirituality in the end is a survival technique. It's not like esoteric. It's not like I'm doing this thing like waving around incense or dressing up in a robe. I'm trying to not go crazy and end my life and damage the life of people around me by devoting myself. They say only the really crazy people become saints. Only the really crazy people would even consider it. You have to need it. It has to be beyond wanting, because wanting is just here to keep the blob going.
How does it feel to be in your mind? Could you describe it to me?
Well, sometimes it's amazing, but sometimes it's very, very fast. Sometimes it's very volatile. I feel like it undulates a lot. This I understand to be very common to addicts. Experiences of extreme high, extreme low, fastness, not natural to be serene, evaluating information very, very quickly. It feels fast sometimes, very fast. And it has a strong sense of craving and longing, which is a type of magnetism, I suppose. And I suppose magnetism is a longing for unity, connection. It's very difficult to discern physical forces because they are, by their nature, non-anthropological. And it's very easy to anthropomorphize physical phenomena like gravity or magnetism or whatever. So what it feels like with me is that there is a great deal to get done. That's what it feels like. There is a great deal that needs to get done. And in order to do it, I have to surrender strongly. Otherwise, I will mess it up badly. That's what it feels like. So that's why there's a lot of ceremony that is communing with that which is unknowable. You know, prayer, ceremony with other people, acknowledging the sacred, not forgetting the sacred. But the most important things are difficult to measure and weigh, but they are there anyway. And so, each day, there is much work to be done, and I am a father of young children, and I have a dog that I adore, and I have many animals. So I have a lot of very simple pastoral duties that have to be done. And I have a lot of spiritual things that have to be done to hold me together. So there's a lot to be done, and then often I get to a point where I'm so tired that the whole enterprise feels like it could collapse inward like a narcissistic semi-gothic souffle. So there has to be a lot of caution, Also, I'm a person, perhaps you identify and agree with, a sense of purpose and mission, and a deep, deep belief that the most profound and significant changes imaginable are possible. By virtue of the fact that they are imaginable, in fact, because the role of imagination we see all around us in every building, every object, every book, every cultural artifact, as well as the broad and defunct aspects of our culture also. Imagination is the device that brings the unmanifest into the manifest.
Do you ever find yourself, because you are a content creator, do you ever find yourself slipping in, and when you play that game, you're dealing with algorithms and metrics and numbers and rankings and I'm trending and I'm not trending. Does that ever trigger your old, the old machinery?
Yeah, I try to not go near it.
Turn this shit off. Not looking too bad, man. That shirt. Getting textures in there. I'm liking it. It's looking pretty good. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Peace.